Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. Today we're going to have Unit 2, and the title of this is ICT Policies and Issues Implications to Teaching and Learning. This is Hermione Chris Ancheca. I will be reporting this unit. Okay, for our module outcomes, first is discuss some ICT policies and explain their implications to teaching and learning. Second, explain some issues that relate to ICT policies. And third is identified safety concerns on internet including digital safety rules. Okay, let's proceed to introduction. Globalization is a reality and ICT has become a fundamental part of the process. A network society is one in which the entire planet is organized around telecommunicated networks of computers. So the powerful use of network has broken boundaries, provided opportunities for inclusion and collaboration. However, there will also be a struggle for those who do not have access or those who are excluded, marginalized, and powerless. And the need to establish policies in the use of ICT is imperative. As the Department of Information, Communication and Technology, or DICT, says that the future has arrived, now we have to ensure that we have a place in it. New technologies have become central to the lives of every individual in this planet. Whether you are talking on the phone, sending an electronic mail, going to the bank, using the library, watching news on television, going to the doctor, catching a flight, or seeing a movie, you are using ICT. Almost everything that we do in the modern world is influenced by the new technologies. So the big question is, would your life as a teacher be also influenced by the new technologies? Or should we live our lives to be controlled by technology, or should we control the utilization of technology in our lives? And how? The one way of enhancing and regulating the use of ICT is to formulate and implement policies to guide appropriate decisions. So let's first define the ICT policy. According to Oxford English Dictionary, policy is a course of action adopted and pursued by a government party, ruler, statesman. It is any course of action adopted as expedient or advantageous. Its operational definition of policy is a plan of action to guide decisions and achieve outcomes. The ICT policies are needed to put a roadmap or course of action to be pursued and adopted by various governments, organizations, entities involving ICT. These include principles and guidelines in the use of ICT, which cover three main areas: telecommunications, these are the telephone, broadcasting, radio and televisions, and internet. Okay, so we have, of course, the new ICT technologies, or the three categories that we have. So the first is the information technology. Information technology. It includes the using of computers, which has become indispensable in modern societies to process data and save time and effort. What are needed will be computer hardware and peripherals, software, and for the user, computer literacy. Second is telecommunication technologies. It is include telephones with fax and the broadcasting of radio and television, often through satellites. Telephone system, radio, and TV broadcasting are needed in this category. The third one is networking technologies. The best known of networking technologies is Internet, but has extended to mobile phone technology, voice over Internet Protocol or VoIP satellite communications, and other forms of communication are still in their infancy. In addition to Internet, this category also includes mobile phone, cable, DSL, satellite, and other broadband connectivity. So let's have the DICT roadmap. So of course, in the Philippines, the one that controls our connections and internet is the Department of Information and Communication Technology. It has formulated a roadmap to guide all agencies in the utilization, regulation, and enhancement of ICT. Each project has corresponding policy statements and guidelines. Okay, so the ICT, of course, for education, or the ICT 4E, is a program under the DICT that supports all the efforts of the education sector in incorporating the use of ICT as well as in determining and gaining access to the infrastructure. When we say infrastructure, it is hardware or software, telecommunications facilities, and others, which are necessary to use and deploy learning technologies at all levels of education. So, among in the policy recommended programs applicable to education, teaching, and learning are the following. First one is the ICT Education Master Plan for all levels, including National Roadmap for Faculty Development in ICT Education. A national framework plan for ICTs in basic education was developed. Second is content and application development. Through the Open Content in Education Initiative, or OCAI, which converts the PED materials into interactive multimedia content, it develops applications used in schools and conducts students and teachers competitions to promote the development of education-related web content. The third one is PEDNet. It is a walled garden that hosts educational learning and teaching materials and applications for use by Filipino students, their parents, and teachers. All public high schools will be part of this network with only DepEd-approved multimedia applications, materials, and mirrored internet sites accessible for school PCs. Next is the established community e-learning centers called Eskwela for out-of-school youth, or OSY, providing them with ICT-enhanced alternative education opportunities. Let's have the Equality Program for tertiary education through partnerships with state universities and colleges to improve quality of IT education and the use of ICT in education in the country. Next is the Digital Media Arts Program, which builds digital media skills for government using open source technologies. Particular beneficiary agencies include the Philippine Information Agency and the other government media organizations, the Cultural Center of the Philippines, National Commission for Culture and Arts, and other government art agencies, state universities and colleges, and local government units. And the last one is ICT Skills Strategic Plan, which develops an interagency approach to identifying strategic and policy and program recommendations to address ICT skills demand supply type. So among in the policy recommended programs that is applicable to education, teaching and learning, in summary we have the ICT in Education Master Plan, Content and Application Development, PEDNet, established community e-learning centers, or called Eskwela for out-of-school youth, or OSY, Equality Program for Tertiary Education, Digital Media Arts Program, and ICT Skills Strategic Plan. Okay, so let's have some issues on ICT and Internet policy and regulations. We have here the global issues. When we say global issues, it talks about access and civil liberties. These are the two sets of issue. ICT policy, which are very crucial to modern society. The other concern is civil liberties, which refer to human rights and freedom. This includes freedom of expression, the right to privacy, the right to communicate, and intellectual property rights. Access to the use of internet and ICT is always a big question, and probably we have problem regarding this one. And if you notice, many of our students cannot have access, so when we say access, it means the possibility for everyone to use the internet and the other media. So to access infringement to civil liberties or human rights. So the question is, Both are specific Internet issues on Internet policy that have relationship to civil liberties or human rights. Let's study the examples that follow. So we have the number one issue, the freedom of expression and censorship. Under international human rights conventions, all people are guaranteed the rights for free expression. However, with the shift from communicating through letter, newspapers, and public meetings to electronic communications and online networking, a need to look into how this new means modifies the understanding of freedom of expression and censorship. The UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights provides that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, likewise the right to freedom of opinion and expression. However, there are practices that violate these provisions in the use of Internet. So here we have the terms such as censorship, or restricts the transmission of information by blocking it or filtering the information. Next is blocking. Blocking is preventing access to whole areas Internet based upon the blacklist of certain Internet address. Next is filtering. Filtering is sifting the packets of data or messages as they move across computer networks and eliminating those considered undesirable materials. Lastly is the defamation. Actions may be used to silence critics. This action determines the freedom of expression. The second issue that we are facing is actually about the privacy and security. Privacy policies are an issue, whether we like it or not. Most controversial sites have a privacy policy. When someone uses a site and clicks I agree button, it is as if you have turned over private information to any authority that may access it. And when we say privacy, it means personal privacy, the right of individuals not to have their home, private life, or personal life interfered with. So take note the definition. Another here is the privacy of communication. Privacy of communication refers to the protection from interference with communication over the phone or internet. And of course, the other one is information privacy. Information privacy is related to the use of computers and communication system which are able to hold and process information about a large numbers of people at a high speed. The third issue is surveillance and data retention. The use of electronic communications has enhanced the development of indirect surveillance. In the direct surveillance, there is no direct contact between the agent and the subject of surveillance, but evidence of the activities can be traced. The new and powerful form of indirect surveillance is dataveillance. Dataveillance is the use of personal information to monitor a person's activity, while data retention is the storage and use of information from communication systems. There is very little that can be done to prevent surveillance. What can be done is to change the methods of working to make surveillance difficult. This is called the counter surveillance or information security if it refers to computers and electronic communication. Okay, so let's have the fourth issue, the e-pollutants from e-waste. Large amounts of e-waste is generated by ICT. These are in particular terminal equipments used for computing, PCs, laptops, broadcasting like television and radio sets, telephony, fixed and mobile phones, and peripheral, fax machines, printers, and scanners. So take note, the accumulated e-waste is due to rapid turnover of equipment due to rapid improvement of software. While material waste can be destroyed by crushing, toxic material brought about by the different equipment requires utmost management. The quantities of e-waste are increasing in both developed and developing countries. Remedies include standardization and regulatory measures to increase the life cycle of equipment before they become obsolete. Efficient extraction of toxic components and requiring the recycling by both consumers and equipment vendors are selling must be required. If not controlled, then e-waste will tremendously affect climate change, damage human lives, and overload the capacity of the earth in carrying solid waste. So take note everyone, if not controlled then e-waste will tremendously affect climate change, damage human lives and overload the capacity of the earth in carrying solid waste. Okay, that's all the four issues that we are facing. The question now is what's the implication of this to teaching and learning? Particularly for teachers and students, how do the policy guidelines, projects, and issues related to teaching and learning? So that's a question, and there are great implications to the teachers and the learners, and here are the implication number one. Guide the teachers on what they should teach that relate to ICT and how to teach it. Second, technology should never replace any human teacher. Third, rules and regulations that govern the use of technology. Fourth, each teacher will be encouraged to use technology in teaching. Next is learners need guidance on how to use and regulate the use of technology. Learners should take advantage of the potential of learning support they can derive, such as the development of higher order thinking skills, the development of learning communities through collaboration, and the enhancement of skills to manage the vast resources as 21st century learners, and many more. Lastly, both the teachers and learners should be mindful of the e-waste that are being thrown away to the land and to the atmosphere. Thank you.